Hi there. Welcome back to another segment of Nocturnal Sage. This time, we're going to discuss the uses of another seemingly difficult punctuation mark. Is this familiar? Yes, it's what you see in stories, in argumentative essays, and the like. This is actually one sign that a writer is proficient in what he or she does. And have you ever admired the way they write this? This punctuation mark will help you enhance your writing, make it more effective than the ordinary types. Yes, it's what you see on screen right now. It's the dash. This is somewhat stronger, and this punctuation mark is used to set off material that is less closely related to the main sentence. I think you have experienced writing unrelated sentences, and when you do, you may think that it's wrong. But actually, if ever that happens, you can redeem yourself through the use of this dash. So instead of using a correction tape to undo the damage you have done, you can simply use a dash to solve the problem. And what is more, aside from helping to fix the problem on interrupting ideas, it can add emphasis to your message. That's the nature of the dash. Before we proceed further, let's distinguish between the two types. The N dash, the one that you see above, this one, is used for marking duration or any range of numbers, like for instance, 19 to 20 years old, from 2000 to 2010. We often write those ranges. So what we use is the N dash, which is longer than a hyphen but shorter than the M dash, which we are currently discussing here. The M dash is the longest among the three lines, and it's used for marking shifts in thought. Now, there are three basic uses of the M dash. Now, the first one is to signal an abrupt change of thought, and then the next, to introduce a dramatic interrupting idea, and the last function, to summarize a statement. Now, let's examine each function one by one. To indicate an abrupt change of thought. Now, this is what I was referring to a while ago. If ever you find yourself making a mistake writing a sentence, a phrase, or even a word, you can redeem yourself through the use of the dash. Let's have a sample sentence. The movie involves three couples, but you probably don't want to hear the whole plot. Notice the interrupting idea, the abrupt change of thought, rather, but you probably don't want to hear the whole plot, is not that related to the movie includes three couples. See? The first part objectively describes the movie, but the next part suddenly arrives at a guess that the addressee may not want to know the story of the movie. To set off interrupting ideas dramatically. Now, sometimes you'd want to emphasize certain parts of your message without the use of the exclamation point. Now, let me emphasize that this is the function of the dash to add emphasis. It's different from an exclamation point because the exclamation point intensifies the emotions of the writer. But the M dash, it doesn't touch on emotions, but rather it intensifies the ideas alone, not the disposition of the author. Now, if you read this out loud, you don't really need to shout unless there's an exclamation point. Now, that's the prompt that it would be appropriate to shout. But here, it's mere emphasis. The star, if you can call her that, will begin shooting a new TV movie soon. You notice this abrupt shift in ideas? Yes, they are actually set off with the use of the dash. The producer, she won an Emmy last year, has promised us a hit show. The part of Lassie, why did the network cancel this program? Calls for an extremely well-trained dog. Now the last function is to set off a summary statement. A strong cast, fine writers, and a good time slot. All of these can lead to a successful series. Now, this can be a good lead to, let's say, a movie review article. So aside from interrupting ideas, the dash can help the reader transition to the concluding statement of the text. It was a spin-off of the #1 comedy. This was all the critics needed to know to predict success. Aside from the first three functions, we also use the dash to set off a non-essential appositive or modifier. Now, I hope you do remember what non-essential expressions are. These are expressions that could be removed from the sentence without changing the meaning of it. One basic problem: the fact that the station had set the show against two top-rated shows caused its cancellation. Now, the expression set off with the use of the dash is the non-essential appositive. Even if you take this away, as long as the reader is aware of this basic problem, then it won't change the meaning of the sentence. The three primary networks, ABC, CBS, and NBC, bring out their new shows in the fall. One award above all others, the Emmy, signifies success to most TV performers. Yes, the dash can also add some drama to what you're writing. Now, when a non-essential appositive is introduced by words such as for example or that is, dashes may also be used, yes, to set them off. For instance, situation comedies, for example, MASH. So instead of putting them in within parentheses, you may use the dash if you really want to highlight such expression. For example, MASH have successfully handled controversial issues in a humorous way. Now, the following examples show dashes used to set off non-essential modifiers. Again, remember that commas are preferred except in the cases listed in the rule. Yes, these are another set of non-essential expressions. So instead of the comma, we use the dash because we want to emphasize these modifiers. Let's have an exercise. Determine where we ought to place the dashes in the following sentences. So I'm giving you 30 seconds to determine where to put the dash in each item, and then once your time is up, I'll show the answer. Ready? Okay, begin. Okay, I think I don't need to count because you may opt to pause the video anyway if you want to view the answer, so here it is. Oh yeah, one note. If you're placing the dash after a question, it's safe to place it next to the question mark. It's also the same is true for exclamation points. Now, to test your dashing skills, I want you to answer these interactive exercises. Now, once you're done, you may proceed to watching the next video on the parentheses. Bye-bye.